Welcome back, everyone, to our gameplay series of Farming Simulator 19. And before we get started, there is a couple of new purchases that I've made since we were last together, and one of them is our very first John Deere. It's the 6 Series, and then we got a huge, absolutely huge loading wagon that can carry over 56,000 liters. So that easily dwarfs anything that we've had before. And the reason I went ahead with this purchase is, number one, because I like buying this stuff in the game. I love the fact that we can own a John Deere. This is about 300 horsepower, I think, after I upgraded the engine. So somewhere around 300 horsepower for that. And then the 56,000 liters is going to give us the ability to actually take care of this stuff quicker. We're going to be able to gather the hay quicker, get it where it needs to be, because our operation is expanding. If you look in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can see we're just over 800,000. I have just sold off all of the horses that we had, and of course replenished our supply with brand new horses. They weren't quite at 100%. They were somewhere around, I think, 75% when I sold them. But I was at a point where I knew we would have plenty of money to do some of the things I wanted to do in today's video. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we need to get... Yeah, there we go. We need to get this guy started because it's time to cut some more grass and turn that into hay. So we're going to hire that worker and let him go ahead and get started. Okay, now that he's underway, we come back over to the area where our wool is, and you can see we've got one pallet that we're still working on, and we've got a few empty slots here. This is probably going to be the last time we have any of these empty slots. Of course, we already know from past experience, as soon as we get up there, we're going to have trouble with this one area up closest to the hitch. So we'll have to see how that one goes. But the rest of these should sell off automatically with no issue. So we're going to hop in, and while our big Krone mower is cutting the grass, we're actually going to head out of here and make our way down to the spinnery. Because my plans for today's video is, of course, we're going to make some hay because we need to do that each day now. The cows take up so much hay. Now, we're perfectly fine as far as how much we have available for them. But as we continue to grow the number of animals, and in particular sheep that we have here on the farm, this is going to be a much bigger deal to the point where we're going to have to find probably some additional sources of grass here pretty soon, given the plans I have for expansion. So again, we'll just see how all that goes. But for right now, we need this guy to cut all that hay. I've been getting somewhere around 3 loading wagons full. So somewhere around 160 or so thousand liters is about what I've been getting on the grass off of that particular field. So not bad. 160,000 is certainly enough for what we need right now. But going forward, I certainly hope it won't be, because we're going to be expanding. So our money flow has been going rather well day by day. The cows at this point, I'm keeping around 190 cows in there and then selling them off, 2, 3, 4 a day as they're born. So with that gives us enough milk, plus the revenue we get from selling the anywhere from 2 to 4 cows. It gets us somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000 per day in income. So not bad at all. And of course, the sheep are not quite doing as well just yet. A full trailer load here, not counting any attempts to double stack this, which I am certainly not going to attempt to do on this trailer. Although I believe it would be technically possible, and the belt should be able to hold it down. I'm not going to try it because I don't think I have the skill with the forklift to make it happen. So, at our current situation with sheep, we're looking at somewhere around maybe $4 to $5 grand per day. And again, we've still got a lot more sheep to purchase just in the enclosures we've already built. So, we're going to be in good shape. But again, the sheep are just not going to make as much money as the cows. And of course, as we get more and more full in the enclosures we have for the sheep, then we'll be able to sell off some sheep day by day. So that'll allow us to creep up our income from the sheep. But again, they're simply not going to be the money maker that the cows are. Yeah, we're going to need to, we need to get some grass. We're going to need to, of course, convert that into hay using the tedder and the windrow. Then, after that, we're going to need to do some cleaning on these animal pens because they get quite dirty. I try to clean them out usually once, maybe twice a day. I don't keep the cleaning percentage or the cleanliness factor at 100% or even anywhere close to that because there's so many things going on. As we continue to grow our farm, we have less and less time to spend on tasks like that. So that's where I'm going to need the AI to help us out as we move forward. Things like the horse helper are going to be huge time savers for me because I want to keep the money flowing in if at all possible, simply because there's some things I want to do in this series, and having that extra money is just a bonus and gets us there that much quicker. All right, here we go. Let's see how this all plays out. I really wish this were a level area. Oh, we got it this time. Oh, wow. Now that right there turned out as good as I could have possibly imagined it turning out. So that gives me great hope for the future. Wow, because we've certainly not seen that be the case previously. So we didn't make a whole lot of money there, somewhere around 10,000. But again, for right now, it's not too bad. In fact, going forward, as we continue to have more and more sheep, I'm planning very much on, let's see, which way do we need to go here? We need to go right, I think. I think that'll be right. But I'm planning on having to pick up another one of these trailers, these flatbed trailers, because I'm thinking that we're going to have enough day by day to. Looks like I did not need to go this way, but it all connects up, so we'll be fine. Thankfully, there's no traffic on the road, so we don't have to worry about that. Coming out next to the restaurant, there's straight ahead. And so that gives us an idea of where we are. And of course, the storefront is immediately in front of us. So yeah, we're going to be getting another trailer for the wool pallets. And going forward, I'm planning on getting out of these tractors. These were great tractors at the beginning of the game for us, but I think we're sort of outgrowing these to the point where I really want to purchase more tractors like the John Deere 6 Series and get us up into much higher horsepower numbers, not necessarily because we're always going to need it, but because I always like to have a lot more horsepower than we absolutely need for the task at hand. And 300 horsepower will get you quite a bit with working with the implements, the various implements that we'll be using on the fields. All right, so now that brings us up to $812,000. So our next task, once we get back to the farm, is going to be purchasing some more sheep. And of course, that's going to greatly increase our wool production. We're going to go ahead and realistically max out the first enclosure for the sheep, and then we'll see how many we can actually fit into the second one with the money we have, and maybe try to save a little bit of money on the side. I don't think money's going to be an issue for us today, but you never know. Because I think we're going to have plenty, considering how inexpensive the sheep are. And if we were talking about horses, that might be a little different story, but for the sheep, I think we're going to be perfectly fine. And I plan on this being the last episode with our current farm configuration. What I'm looking to do next time is expand once again. Next time we sell off our horses, I'll be looking to expand and pick up another field. Now, I haven't decided where I want that to be. One potential option is to pick up one of these fields right that you see us driving by here on the right. And there are two fields over there. And of course, they are huge fields. And the reason I'm thinking about that is what that would give us an opportunity to do is go ahead and take all of the fields that we have currently over here for the most part. Now we'll keep a few oats growing and things like that. But for the most part, I think it'll give us the ability to actually place animal enclosures and or storage buildings and so on over across all of field number 1, which is the field closest to us over here that we're currently using for hay. Then field 2, we don't have a whole lot of room left, but then field number 3, we can take in a portion of it and do the same thing, put maybe animal enclosures or storage buildings, that kind of thing on it, and simply use one of our new fields, if it's a big enough field, and use it for hay. That's kind of where I'm thinking right now, but I'm going to have to look over these fields and make sure that there's enough room around the edges so that the AI is not constantly running into trees or off of cliffs, kind of like over here. So we'll just see how it goes. But for right now, I think that's going to be the direction I want to take this. And that way we can continue to make this our main farm area. And like I said, we'll keep a portion of this field for oats, maybe half of it, maybe not quite half, because I don't think we need quite half of it for that. And I certainly don't have any interest in expanding our horse operation at this point. All right, let's go ahead and get this lined up pretty good. All right, now let's move our tractor out of the way. Okay, now it's time to get over here to, you can see we definitely need to do some cleaning here. One of my only downsides here for this is that it generally spawns in so close to the trough here that it makes it very hard to get the loading wagon through here. It's not as bad for the sheep as it is for the cows, because the cows sometimes I just simply get stuck over there trying to get close enough to get all of the mess that these guys are creating. So that's a bit of an issue, but overall, based on the income we're getting, it is certainly not a huge deal. All right, so we'll pull up our dialogue. You can see we've got all white sheep right now, simply because that's what we have in the area where I live. I don't really see much of particularly the black sheep or the brown sheep, and that one kind of freaks me out just by the look that he's giving me right now. So I think we'll stick here with the white sheep. Let's see, before we do that, let me come in and let's take, oops, wrong one. All right, so 160, and you can see about every 6.5 hours, it actually a little bit less than that once you get the cleanliness up a little bit higher. But say every 6 hours or so, we're getting a new one, so about 4 a day. So not bad, but of course we're going to greatly increase that. We got room for about 90 in this enclosure. So let's go ahead. This is where I really wish that there was an option to specify the number you want to buy. So we're simply going to go up here as high as we can. $1,500 we're going to be clicking for quite a while, unfortunately. So I tell you what, I'm going to cut it here, and as soon as we get done with all this, we'll be back. All right, so I have just completed buying all of our sheep for filling up our initial enclosure plus filling up our second enclosure. And by filling it up, I don't mean all the way to 250 capacity because we need to leave some room for the new sheep that are going to come in each day. So what I've done, as we'll pull up the menu here, we are at 235 sheep in each one of our enclosures. So this is going to be really good. Of course, job number one right now is we need to get some water and some hay over here for them. So let's go ahead and hop out if we can find it. Where's he at? There he is. Let's get our water tanker in motion. So we'll let this guy fill up. And actually, I was testing this out a little bit earlier, and he continued filling even when I moved away from him. So what I'm going to do is hopefully that will continue on, because we need to pick up some hay from the hayloft, and we'll distribute it over to get us started at least on our new sheep. All right, we should have more than enough in here. Yeah, 117 hay. That will be, I will probably empty that out, or most of that out, just to get us up and running on our sheep, because our cows are doing pretty good. This is pretty close to halfway, which is going to be about 5 days worth as it all works out. So we're perfectly fine there, especially since we're able to cut and harvest the hay each day. All right, so there we go, 56,500 in this particular loading wagon. So this loading wagon, and if I remember, we're going to be going to the storefront here very soon. So if I remember, I will show you guys exactly what this trailer looks like, because we actually added an extension onto the back of it here to extend the capacity just a little bit more than what it already was. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can make this corner and get where we need to be. All right, there we go. So we're going to dump that out into this enclosure. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to take all of this, plus some. So I don't think we're going to have any issues with any left over. All right, there we go. That is now emptied out. And you can see, oh yeah, we're at about halfway. Okay, so things are moving along quite nicely. So I'll tell you what, let's head back over to... Yeah, there we go. He is continuing to fill. So that is perfect. So we'll drop off the water over there, and that'll be enough to get these guys going and start their productivity. And they'll start to produce not only the wool, but they'll start to reproduce as well. So we are going to have a very, very nice increase coming for our sheep production, and we're going to need that extra trailer we were talking about earlier pretty quickly here, I would imagine. I'm also going to have to remind myself not to forget about the grass over there that I'm sure is done being cut by now. We need to get over there and get the tedder started, and then windrower and so on. All right, there we go. That seems to be close enough for what we need. And let's see how we're doing in the original pasture up here. Again, these numbers, or these sliders, don't look terribly impressive, but I think we're going to be fine in each of these. We'll get the cleanliness taken care of. And let's see, water, we don't need that much more there. So yeah, we're in good shape. We're almost done filling up the water. There we go. Now let's come out and let's see what we've got. Oh yeah, that's going to last us quite a while on there. So these guys are up and going. Our newest sheep are now fine, as well as our existing sheep. So 235. I've left a room for 15 additional ones. We're not going to need quite that amount, but I'm trying to leave a little extra room, just like I did with the cows, just to make sure we don't max them out and cut off our production prematurely. We certainly don't want that. All right, so everything has turned out absolutely great so far. Let's go ahead and run. Let's run through and clean out. Let's go ahead and lower our pickup, and let's turn on the loading wagon. And again, you can see just how close you have to get. I mean, you can squeeze this a little bit and be okay, but not a whole lot, because it leaves just a little extra along the side. Okay, so I think we've got it all. Now we'll simply dump that right back in, and that'll take their cleanliness up to 100% once again. All right, and the last thing I wanted to get accomplished in today's video is let's actually go in under our implements, and I'm pretty sure this is under, if I can find it. baling technology. Is that where they? Yeah, there we go. So this is where our trailer is, $16,000, and you can see our balance is $316,000. So that's really good that we have money left over. So let's go ahead and click on this, and we'll get rid of those bale extensions there to hold additional bales. $16,000. No reason to lease that. We'll simply go ahead and purchase it, and we are all set. I will take care of heading down to the store and making that happen, bringing it back up. We'll set it over near our other sheep enclosure. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our gameplay series of Farming Simulator 19.